the ARPA funds there. I know Councilor Fry gives us an update there. Mayor, do we have a list of things that have come through that have potential, that could be going forward?
You know, we continue to evaluate applications and projects. What I passed out to you earlier and collected from you, part of it is what Mr. Shreve talked about, West Houston Street, replacing that water line, which will also help some businesses in the area with their water or fire suppression system. One business is looking to expand, and the product that they'll be having at that business needs a certain type of fire suppression system. So this will help them in that endeavor, which will add an expansion to the city, add jobs to the city as well. Another project that has come through that we're looking at is the reconstruction of South Barren Avenue. This will be approximately from Snyder Avenue to Russell Avenue, which is the last street south of Snyder. So if you know where Elson Street is, it's one block more. If you can picture South Barren, that section, the first few hundred feet from Snyder has curb and gutter on both sides. So that's been reconstructed at some point. So we'll resurface that, take it from that point, curb and gutter down to Russell Avenue. Full depth paving, which there is not now. We will add storm sewers, which there are not now. I believe there's 12 storm sewers that will be added. I forget how many feet of storm sewers will be put into under the street there. We'll put a new water line in and check out the sanitary sewer, but those usually don't go bad too often. So major reconstruction project. For those of you who were around when we redid East 9th Street, it's going to be that type of project. So once we're waiting on the final estimates. It should be right around $5 million, and then we'll go out for bid. If this passes, we'll go out for bid, and then hopefully award the contract and then start moving. It's going to be about a year-long construction project, so it's going to be ugly, but the end result is going to be great. It's going to help with stormwater. It's going to help the homes. If you can picture, there used to be an asphalt plant in South Barberton, so when those trucks would be running up and down the street, and they continue to run up the street, not the asphalt trucks, but other ones, the homes are so close to the street that it literally shakes the house. So putting full depth paving will really help with that, putting the curb and gutter, new sidewalks, all of that. That's one of the last entrance ways into the city that's never been fully improved. So that will help quite a bit. And then lastly is leak detection equipment. We want to be proactive when it comes to our infrastructure. Mr. Shreve has been doing a lot of research. We spent a few years ago about $12,000 on bringing a company in to set up equipment on water lines. And then it takes readings and it looks for leaks. Well, for about 30 grand, we can buy the equipment ourselves and have it forever. So we want to do that. We can set it up, was it about a 3 to 5 block radius? It's not just one street or one line. So we want to be proactive with it, and this money will really help us so we can detect a water leak before it sprouts up out of the street. As we know, a water leak may happen over here, but doesn't hit the surface of the street until over here. So now you've got to fix it over here and redo all this street. So this will help out quite a bit. So those are the three that have come up recently. And when the budget passes, those are included in the budget. That's why I took the letter back, because it's kind of included. But and then I added in a council update this past week or weekend what's been approved already. So if the budget passes, once we get cooking on this, then I'll include these projects in that as well.
And have all department heads applied for things, from building to law to the streets to the park or the parks? Every department?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe the law department has. Parks, we've talked. I know Mr. Patterson's waiting to get quotes on a lot of things, which is a task in itself because the quote today could be different tomorrow. So no, not all departments have. The vast majority of them.
But they're all aware that they can?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions on that? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. All right. Is there anything else from the body? From the gallery? All right. I have one thing for miscellaneous discussion, and it's about time something's said. Not going to point names, not going to call anybody out here. Started getting a little chippy again last week, okay? I had to have this talk last year before we went on kind of a COVID break in 2020 or whenever that is. It's no secret that even I myself am dealing with some personal issues, but the difference is I leave them at that gate. When I cross that gate, I'm not Thomas, I'm not Bebe, I'm Counselor Heidick, and I'm equal to every one of you just as you're all equal to each other and myself. We have council rules now in place that we all agreed on. And God help us, I hope we don't have to use it. But in case you have your council rule book in front of you, which I always keep in front of me, Section 203B, it's on page 9, leads into 208A6 on page 11 to 208B on page 12. I will lay it down on myself if somebody wants to make a motion against me. But that's the censure rule. And the 203B is the language in attire rule. So what I'm going to say right now is publicly and privately, people come into my restaurant, people come into our businesses, they all talk to us. The reason I bring up the language and attire, and at the adjournment of my meeting, because during my meeting as chair of personnel, which is why I'm saying this, I will not entertain a motion. President Greer can at the adjournment of this, but I will strike down any motion right now. I'm saying we are all equal, we will respect each other, and above all, cut the shit. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We are adjourned at 6:36. That I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Heidick. That concludes the committee meetings for this evening. We're going to take a 5-minute break and get ready for the regular legislative meeting tonight.
Oh, no, not my favorites.
Well,
I love your necklace.
203B,
Well, that's not really a cuss word.
288A. Somebody wants to make a motion to censure me for language? It's in the rules.
That's not really a
That's why I was like,
cuss word.
give me 5 minutes to run downstairs.
I used to keep trying to tell my wife that for the last 6 years being married. That's not a cuss word.
Like I said,
When I say SOB or something, that's a cuss word.
again, it's,
That's what I'm saying. That's just, when you say that, that's just a figure of something that's real. That's, you know, if I call you an SOB or something, that's a real figure.
Ready for this, Michael? People still eating every day. People eat every day.
I've always said, there's one thing that's, or there's two things that are recession-proof: healthcare and people eating and drinking. People always have the money to do that. I can't remember the number, but I just got sanitizer in, and it's since a month ago is double.
There's no sense in waiting. There's no sense in waiting. Yeah, it's just going to go up and up.
If it weren't for so many markets being so volatile, I wouldn't ask for it. I'd say all three.
Right.
But now you got that nutcase over in Russia with his finger on the nuclear button.
I know.
And it's like, great, just lock in prices as fast as we can.
We all know.
Good.
Pepsi went up 16% in one day.
Pepsi?
Yeah, it's probably 16%.
Have you had to get a new diesel shipment in yet?
Yeah, diesel every day.
I know last week you said you hadn't had to get a new one yet.
Everybody else is
And how many, I don't know anything about semis, but how many gallons they hold?
Oh, shit, 150, 100 and a half each tank.
So times 8 cents.
Yeah, the average is
Each
about
run.
150, you talking 300 gallons of fuel.
Yeah. Like I said, times 8 cents.
So one would be really a long one, and sometimes it's a shorter one on the driver's side. But,
They want to fill up. They're going long runs. They're
yeah,
going local. They usually short.
fill it,
So
yeah.
you're still talking anywhere from 35 to 50 bucks extra.
Yeah.
They just went up for it.
Just from parking. That's not including tires.
No.
Toll
Oh,
pass.
And in these conditions, when they're leaving the engines on, when they are resting, burning and burning, now you're burning fuel and not moving.
but they used to do that all the time, but now with electronic engines and stuff, you can shut them off.
Some of them old trucks, though.
The old ones, yeah,
Some of them guys,
yeah.
they're still not, believe me, Cisco still has some of them old ones.
Yeah, they'll leave them run. They're, way back when, we'd leave them run constantly, all week, 24/7.
$6 a bottle. Ukraine water. I support the Ukraine.
Most things go south when you bring. You know what? Something happened.
I know.
And it's going to disrupt everything. You know, they're talking-
Oh, yeah.
every day I read these
It
different.
wasn't cheap. It was a day job. So I'm not buying them.
We still buy some stuff. So if we put off,
Yeah.
2% of everything we have, we cut that off. We don't have 2% to make up for it.
To make up for that. That's correct. See, a lot of people don't realize before World War I, there were isolationists. We could do what we wanted and hide behind the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean and let Europe take care of Europe. But now, it's a global change. Food, communication, banking, what goes on over there, buddy, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your table and everything. We're married to them.
You know, places like Panama, Egypt, when they have canal arguments,
Oh yeah, we're screwed. Yeah. You can't say, well, oh, hey, that's their problem. Let them do. No. No.
yeah, like I said, 14 days in a normal county, no problem. 10 days right now.
It can mean how much extra money. Buku.
Were you talking to me?
Yeah, if we pass this tonight, it's under emergency. He can sign tonight and wake up early and start making $20,000. And just start. Right.
How much time he said he's going to give us?
That's pretty good, sir. Yeah, you got to have. The whole process is laid out there. Bring it.
Well, that's cool, I guess, I had trouble understanding if it was a fraud. She was Carol Gay.
Well, maybe she doesn't want to, because everybody messes that up.
Oh, trust me, I was like, they did with Charlie. They said, this is no fashion. We share that.
So everybody calls us right. The Eagles, that's how he would have.
I got the note ordinances this week, Carol was on it, I got all the notes. So I texted Jeremy Beck, and I said, what did I have to do to do this? He said, he was only 3, it was fine.
Yeah.
Well, we had out of them out there in the hallway.
You know, I just found the Easter ones, so for Easter candy, I had Easter Kit Kats, and you were the only one that I could get.
Justin.
There's this and then there's nothing.
No, do you have a sticky note?
The data.
No
I knew you
Reese's, no
would.
peanut butter.
Just rando things.
So,
Two things I hate most, peanut butter and cinnamon.
Going to good use. Oh no, that's a gross one.
well,
Oh God.
Same free. Paper's going up.
I'm good. How about you? Okay. Well, I don't. Yeah. But that guy, you should have helped him. Oh my God, he was part-time.
I need another one.
60
I'm
hours.
so sorry. I'm so
And
sorry.
he was a retired engineer, and he was fabulous. Fabulous. He would
I don't know my council phone number
you know, if
is.
you had a board meeting, he would answer. He was great. I loved him. Yeah, it was 3 years. But anyway, that's all I have.
She's gonna tell all the
Well, I had it, but I changed my mind. I was going to, but I'm not. You've been through hell and back.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here in about 30 seconds. If we can turn the phones off, we're on silent.
Yes.
Oh. What am I doing?
You haven't amended one of these.
Yeah, I know. There it is.
Thank you again. Good. Well, thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah, he fixed that. I was going to try to help in between things, so. All right, good evening. This is a regular legislative meeting of the Barberton City Council. Today is Monday, February 28th, 2022. It is 6:47 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by Mrs. Angeloff.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, as we begin this meeting, we ask that you guide our thoughts and our actions so we may have a successful meeting. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect our community. May we use our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us. And always act in accordance with what is best for our community and our fellow citizens. Lord, bless and protect this council, our administration, all of our employees, and our schools. Now let's bow our heads for a moment of a silent prayer for the men, women, and children of Ukraine. Amen.
Thank you, Mrs. Angeloff. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mrs. Thompson.
Here.
Mr. Heidick.
Here.
Mrs. Bailey.
Here.
Mrs. Angela.
Here.
Mr. Griffin.
Here.
Mr. Jaber.
Here.
Mrs. Coburn.
Here.
Mrs. Fry.
Here.
President.
Present. All right. Before we get started today, we're going to present Mr. Larry Charlie Reese with his resolution. Are you going to read that off?
I will read it.
All right, thank you.
Commendation, Mr. Larry Charlie Reese. A resolution of the Council of the City of Barberton honoring and giving public recognition to Mr. Larry Charlie Reese for his 35-plus years of dedicated service to the City of Barberton. Whereas Charlie Reese is a lifetime resident of Barberton, graduating from Barberton High School in 1986, where he was an all-statewide receiver in football and made it to the state playoffs his senior year in baseball. And whereas Charlie has been married to Cosette Rector, since September of 1992, and they have a daughter, Riley, and a son, Zane. And whereas Charlie started with the City of Barberton part-time with the Street Department on July 14, 1986, and was hired full-time on May 15, 1990. And whereas Charlie was promoted to Inspector of Property Maintenance in the Building Department on July 26, 2004, and then Inspector of Property Maintenance Technician on June 8, 2007. And whereas Charlie was administered the oath of office as a volunteer police officer on July 6, 1998 for the city, retiring from the police department on June 21, 2018 after 20 years. And whereas Charlie went from the Cherry Street to patrolling the streets to making sure the streets were clean and safe, he's taken care of Barberton his whole life. And whereas over the years, Charlie has become the liaison between the city and numerous contractors and was named Employee of the Year in both 2017 and 2021. And whereas Charlie has spent countless hours coaching the youth of Barberton and is currently an active committee member of the Barberton Sports Hall of Fame, and whereas folklore has it that the Magic Man was molded after Charlie. And whereas the city building will seem empty without our friend and colleague, Charlie Reese, and cousin, thank you very much, he will be missed by all. And whereas Charlie is most proud of his family and kids and looks forward to continuing to support them in retirement. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Barberton, State of Ohio, that Section 1, this council hereby honors and gives public recognition to Charlie Reese for his 35-plus years of dedicated service to the City of Barberton. And Section 2, this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the earliest period allowed by law, passed unanimously on February 14th, 2022.
Mr. Reese?
I encourage other council members to come up and congratulate Mr. Reese.
Whoops, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you start crying after that?
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
What's that?
Thank you.
This one was on.
How'd that happen?
Oh, okay. On the mic, okay.
Yeah.
Were these?
Can everybody hear me? Oh, yeah. I just want to thank City Council. That was a great honor. I know you didn't need to do that.
Yes, we did.
I love working for the city. I don't ever remember a day I didn't enjoy coming to work, maybe when I was snow plowing a lot of hours. But
Cutting grass.
I don't know if the mayor had anything to do with that writing, but that was funny, some of that. I appreciate you. All those years I worked for the city, I always talk to the younger employees when they come in, and I tell them how great these jobs are. You know, as we got older, I used to tell the mayor that people would run out of BNC and kill each other coming across the street on Brady to get in the street garage for our jobs. Not as much anymore, which I don't understand. These are great jobs, and so I've always championed for the city and their jobs, and I appreciate City Council part of working in the Barberton Building and Property Maintenance Division, you work hands-on with city council. My last couple of years, I worked with Carol and Joyce and Nina some and Shorter, and I didn't get to work with everybody else, and I wish I could have. But my family thanks you. I appreciate it. I knew back in 88, 89 I wasn't for college, and I remember going to Gary Schrader and saying, hey, could you hire me? And he said, no, I'm not hiring you. And a year later, Steve Leffler hired me, and I appreciated it. And it's given my family a good life. So I thank you guys so much. I can't thank everybody enough. It was hard leaving the building department and the city building because everybody's so unbelievable to work with. So the mayor's seen me the last 2 Fridays in the building. I have another part-time job I'm doing right now, 4 days a week. But the reason I do that, Mayor, is I see so many people retire and never come back. I've got people that have retired, we never see them. And I just told Dave and Kyle and Marcia and Tammy and Missy and anybody else on that first floor, I'm not going to be that guy. So I've come back and went to lunch with them the last 2 Fridays. I didn't make it this Friday, had a car breakdown, but just can't thank everybody enough. It's a great honor. I appreciate you guys. I know what a tough job you guys have. I talked to the mayor about that at length. Just keep up the fight, and who knows, may come back part-time someday and mow grass or something. But I'm just kidding. I appreciate you. Thank you guys very much.
Is there any council members that would like to say anything? Mrs. Angela?
It was in the proclamation about Cherry Street. I think I was over at your house quite a few times with your mother. His mother was such a wonderful lady, and my son is younger. He played with your brother, Joe, baseball and football, so we did a lot of traveling, and we did a lot of sitting and watching and feeding breakfast to the football team and whatnot. And I tell you what, Charlie, you are Mr. Barberton in my book. Thank you so much for your service.
Any other council members? Mr. Jaber?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Reese, I used to have customers come in always afraid of you, Haywood, and Russ. They always say you three are always the ones that they would never talk back to, and I admire that because they feared you guys, and they respected you guys for what you guys did, and you'll be missed. A lot of customers come in that doing construction stuff always talk very highly of you, and that's why I respect you for that. You're a people person, and everybody respected you for what you did, and you talked to everybody. You weren't out there to give violations. You weren't out there to argue with somebody. But you were there to do your job, and you communicated really, really well with the citizens and also the construction guys that came into the city of Barberton. You will definitely be missed. And I appreciate everything you, all pep talks you gave me and all the stuff here and there over the years. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Reese, for everything that you've done, and hopefully you continue to do. So, the next order of business is an executive session. A request was made by Mayor Judge to enter into executive session to discuss certain personnel matters. Having stated the request, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session of council. Motion made by Mr. Heidick.
I'll second.
And seconded by Mrs. Thompson. It was moved by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to enter into executive session to discuss certain personnel matters. Clerk, please call the roll.
President Greer.
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Heidick.
Yes.
Mrs. Bailey.
Yes.
Mrs. Angela.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Jaber.
Yes.
Mrs. Coburn.
Yes.
Mrs. Frye.
Yes.